Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another race in our Zelda 2 Randomizer Swiss rounds. This is round 2, EatMySteel versus bentglasstube. Joining me in the booth today is Melee Wizard and Frico. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to people way more capable of commentating this race than I am, and take it away, guys.
Hello, welcome back to another wonderful race from these Z2 Randomizer Standard Tournament. I am Melee Wizard, alongside me is Frico. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I think one of us has slightly overestimated the capabilities of the commentary team. But,
As long as I stay awake, I should be fine.
We'll see how that ends up working out, but let's see what the seed throws at our runners. This is a match between two runners that are 1-0 so far. EatMySteel, I believe, defeating Ghost Dunk in the first round, and bentglasstube was victorious over Schmitty in round 1. So we'll see if either of our runners are up to the task tonight of taking that momentum from the first round, translating it to a 2-0 start. Unfortunately, that does mean one of these runners will end up 1-1 after this match as well.
That by no means eliminates them from bracket contention.
No, not at all. I believe the qualification this year is 3 wins out of 5 rounds, no matter how you do it, sees you through to the knockout stage. Yep. We are underway.
Yep, and we see a town right off the bat, and it's the back end of Saria.
Oh, jaded. You thought you saw a town, but about as close as you're going to get is the outside of the castle. No drawbridge quite yet.
And first cave we find is the dang Death Mountain.
Death Mountain straight away. Looks like
and that is P2.
Yeah,
not a bad dungeon to find, but without the glove, we may not be diving too far into it just yet.
Well, we could get glove block, key block, a lot of blocks you got to get through. Maybe 2-3 rooms before you end up getting turned right around as EatMySteel makes their way through a cave, bentglasstube working their way through the overworld. Unfortunately for EatMySteel, well, possibly fortunately, a pea bag at the end of the cave. Bentglasstube just seems to have turned on the hacks and leveled all the things. Attack 3, Magic 2, and Life 2. I believe they found a 500-point pea bag. Oh,
I think it was more than I think Attack 3 by itself was more than 500. It must have been 1,000.
Yeah, 550 for Attack 3. Yeah, you might be right. EatMySteel finding a 1,000-point pea bag and doing exactly the same thing. Attack 3 and going for Life 3, which I'm not a fan of, but we'll see.
Go west to find the boots. Hint and Raruru.
It was a 1,000-point pea bag. It looks like our levels may not exactly be difficult to come by if we have 1,000-point pea bags.
And bentglasstube getting the life spell out of Rauru. Not one of the 3 primary ones we're looking for, but life spell's nice to have.
Yeah, healing spells are always a good thing to have, that's for certain. It's like a little bit of overworld exploration, and We'll see what we come across next. So far, 2 towns down, and the life spell and the backside of Sorry at a show for it.
And I saw that the orange Dairas give 150, which is pretty good for the early game.
Yeah, this is pretty free, to be honest with you. With that 30-point P-bag, I don't think it was 300.
Nah, yeah, I think that was just a 30. And magic container,
jar.
Not bad.
So EatMySteel gonna pick up a spell. So, to no surprise of ours, life, for EatMySteel equalizing things out a little bit. Bentglasstube a little bit ahead, exploration-wise. Not by much.
Yeah, more or less the difference of encounter luck. That was a 300, though.
Yeah, this feels like a pretty free seed. Every time I see the 1,000-point P bags, I kind of groan a little bit, because it's just like, okay, there is absolutely no strategy that is needed for this game. You pretty much have 888 for free if you want it. Is what, 2,000-point P bags, and you're already at, attack level 5, which allows you to pretty much overflow your attack levels, backfill everything else if you set it up properly.
Ooh, and EatMySteel finds Mido. Unfortunately, we don't have Jump or Fairy, so it can't get the downstab just yet.
Well, no medicine either, so no spell. But EatMySteel looks to be interested in picking up a hint as to the location of said medicine.
And it's in the east.
Ooh. So I believe that means that it's in one of the 2 P-bag caves that we would find on the east.
Well, there's also the desert spot, the water spot. Basically, the only ones that wouldn't be considered the east is Maze Island itself.
Or palaces, correct?
Correct, yes.
Oh yeah, it could be in New Kasuto as well. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Clem, thank you for waking me up to that minor little discovery. It's like EatMySteel in the Trophy Cave.
And Bentglasstube in Medicine Cave, I believe that is. And that's another 1,000-point P-bag.
Alright, so I will take things that are free for 1,000, please, Alan.
So one thing that I was informed of during the last race, and there's the hammer for Bentglasstube. Apparently, you can only have 3 values of P bags in any given seed, and from the looks of it, this seed we got 30, 300, and 1,000. So yeah, pretty high octane XP for the P bags on this one.
Yeah, the chances of a P-bag being very high with the drop table, as you say it, yeah. I have known that there are only 3 value of P-bags in the drop pool. Bentglasstube gonna pop open a hammer-blocked cave. Let's see what we find here for Bentglasstube. EatMySteel should be making it over that way shortly.
And it's a heart container.
EatMySteel gonna revisit the backside of Saria.
I think the only dungeon we know about is Pals 2 here, and looks like bentglasstube is diving in. So I don't recall seeing any key drops, so without the magical key or the fairy spell, we may not, who knows how far we'll be able to get in here.
I have seen one key show up in the random drop.
Oh, did it? Okay, I didn't know
I
that.
think it was on EatMySteel's side, though, so unless bentglasstube snuck a key in somewhere, I don't foresee bentglasstube being able to get very far. Uh-oh.
If nothing else, it's pretty close to start. If worse comes to worse, a quick up A and you're back on your way. I'm amazed by that little bit of finesse there from bentglasstube. Nicely done.
Yeah, I was almost certain he was going to take another trip to the sauna. And bentglasstube kind of hoping for a decent dripper enemy. 100 points.
Didn't see what the enemy was, not that it matters too much, but 100's not bad, but apparently not to BGT's liking.
Well, when you have 1,000-point P-bags just kind of hanging out. So bentglasstube gonna head in, get the bad news that the medicine is on the east.
You know, we're getting some new exploration information from EatMySteel. There's a town, and there's the grass tile that has the boots. There they are.
Yeah, that's good knowledge. So EatMySteel finding Stonehenge as well as the boots. So this should open things up for EatMySteel. Finding...
That's Ruto.
Alright, so EatMySteel should be able to pick up a spell from here, if not a hint.
No trophy, so it's just a hint. And the trophy is in the east.
Ouch. So, medicine and trophy go east. If only they had a raft.
Oh, there has to be one around here somewhere.
Very true. bentglasstube picking up the 1,000-point P-bag.
But having those boots definitely makes exploration a lot easier, what with the river being in the way otherwise.
Yeah, oh wow, bentglasstube getting a 1,000-point P-bag. The sequel as a random drop from an Akimon.
Oh boy. Already at attack 5. Ah, there's a key. There's a key drop for EatMySteel. I see that now. Okay.
Yeah, just about blink and you miss him, but yeah, EatMySteel does. I have 2 keys now, although I think the bigger problem is that Palace 2 ends up being glove blocked almost straight away about 5 rooms in. As well as EatMySteel finding the front side of Saria.
Yeah, and deciding to refill magic before going to get that spell.
Not a bad plan. So EatMySteel gonna pick up a spell and see what we end up getting here.
It is the shield spell.
Alright, so the good thing about having life and shield is that your survivability has increased exponentially. The bad thing is, it's not Thunder, Shield, or Fairy, which makes those spells much more likely to be gated behind a medicine, child, or trophy, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bent Glass Tube having the hammer might just bonk that hammer that we see on his screen. He is now in the area where the boots are.
Although that block wasn't actually blocking anything.
True. A potential convenience pass-through. Instead of going through a cave, just bonk the hammer out of the way. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I mean, you could just get on the path farther down. There was a gap in the mountains there. And EatMySteel finds a palace, and it is P1.
Alright, so with 2 keys in tow, at least, this should bode well for EatMySteel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a go west to find the hammer. Okay.
Bent Glass Tube, if you didn't know where the hammer was, now you know it is in the west, so...
Yep. And I think EatMySteel has not really been checking for hints very much, so he did not get that information while he was there.
He did not, you are correct.
EatMySteel finds the item room for P1.
Ooh, a 200-point teabag drop.
Okay. Ooh, a magic container.
Alright, so EatMySteel finding the Palace 1 magic jar. Bent Glass Tube finding a magic jar just kind of out and about. So Bent Glass Tube going to get the mirror, refill magic. No? Wait a second. What are you doing?
Checking for more hints.
Ah.
Bent Glass Tube is definitely being more thorough with checking for hints than EatMySteel is.
Well, EatMySteel doesn't seem interested in trying to take that key door down.
Maybe he just wants to conserve his keys, only use them if he has to.
Not a bad plan, given that there's actually no reason for him to have been in Palace 1 from a logic standpoint. So, from the way the logic is treating this seed, this is a sequence break for EatMySteel. However, it is netting him a free and clear Palace 1.
Yep.
So, 16 minutes, 17 seconds. EatMySteel dunks our first crystal of this match.
And Bent Glass Tube finding Palace 1 and decides to dive in as well.
Alright, let's see how well Bent Glass Tube navigates this palace. It looked fairly straightforward. Item room to the left, go up and to the right to find the boss, and pretty much we're done here. We'll see if Bent Glass Tube has a better or worse situation with keys. Ooh, Bent Glass Tube just popping open a door, which I believe... No, that wouldn't have been the one that EatMySteel refused to open.
I don't think so, no.
That was way too early, and...
And in chat, noting that EatMySteel has been checking forest tiles. I'm presuming checking for Bagu, if for no other reason than to have a quick travel point or something through Saria or something.
Could be.
And that looks like that was well. There's Bagu, and yep, he's just not even bothered with it. I think that that last palace was P4, if I saw that correctly.
Was there a MOA in front of it? It looks
I think so.
I mean, EatMySteel just kind of. It looked like it was the same color scheme as what bentglasstube is subjecting himself to.
But the statue was active, so I know it wasn't P1. Or at least I thought so.
These rooms look a lot like P1, but the color doesn't look right compared to what EatMySteel had. We'll see.
And bentglasstube finds the item room and nopes out of it. Of course, I didn't really look to see, didn't notice how many keys BGT has at the moment.
I don't think he has any. I've only seen him pick up one key so far, and he used that almost straight away. Yeah, just going, crap, that's a key, can't go there, out, gotta go, bye.
Well, thankfully, he doesn't need one to get to Horsehead.
That might end up costing bentglasstube. It's just a magic jar, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah. It's not the worst thing to leave behind, but it might be in the back of his mind if we find ourselves looking for that one last thing to finish the seed.
That is true. Bentglasstube actually taking the key to where the item room is. So
interesting.
EatMySteel finding the hammer. So now bentglasstube has
Joel, just to confirm, bentglasstube did not put in the crystal in P1, right?
That is correct.
Okay, we'll have to
I'm
remember
not
that
sure
for
we
later.
want to put Horsehead actually marked on the tracker, as he has to go back to Palace 1 to dunk that crystal.
Question chat, the item in P1 was a magic container, and the pause there afterwards was bentglasstube just marking his tracker.
Ooh, EatMySteel picking up a free 1,000 points of experience, just kind of drop out on the ground as we find another heart container. My issue with bentglasstube's play is that you leave an open loose end, get about 55 minutes into the run, and then go, what the hell am I missing?
Yeah, that would definitely suck. Apparently this is either 3 or 6. Okay, I didn't really get a good look at the columns when EatMySteel visited this place. Definitely does have a similar palette to that P1 did.
That's what threw me off, because the similar palette is, it looks like bentglasstube's identified it as Palace 5.
6.
Yes, okay.
Alright, so we know our 3 palaces here. 1, 2, and 6.
Alright, so that means...
We're glove blocked at... Ooh! bentglasstube finding a quick way to Spectacle Rock, and it's the Lost Child.
You built that up so well, but then the item, unfortunately, not the best.
Well, I mean, it could lead to one of our 3 major spells, but that's still a ways off. Until we get the raft, we won't have the means of even finding that out.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, so we have no downstab, we have no raft, which means very little means in the way of being able to find the downstab, as we'll need either jump or ferry. Both runners, at least from a technical standpoint, completing Palace 1, however, bentglasstube, in a very unconventional strategy call, which may or may not work out in their favor, using the boss's key to unlock the door to the item room instead of unlocking the way to placing the crystal.
And if anything, I would say that sort of strategy would really only work in P1. If only because P1 tends to be pretty short, so the trip between the boss room and the item room would likely be rather short. You wouldn't be as likely to be the case in other palaces. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I can agree with you there. However, my main concern, as I expressed before, is that if bentglasstube, for whatever reason, forgets about P1, going, well, yeah, I defeated Horsehead, I placed all 6 gems, why aren't you letting me in, Great Palace?
Yeah, that would definitely be a big oof moment.
So, from my standpoint, it's not the worst play, but, it brings me back to one of the things of, give somebody a piece of rope, and what do you expect them to do with it?
Alright, meanwhile, EatMySteel has been making his way through Death Mountain, fighting a decent number of dead ends, and areas that would have been dead ends were not if it weren't for the boots.
Yeah, both runners actually exploring Death Mountain in various parts of it. Certainly looking for the Hammer Cave. Spectacle Rock was pretty much right there at the start. The child being the item in Spectacle Rock. bentglasstube thought about getting out of there, but jumping back in.
Well, at least from looking at bentglasstube's tracker, actually looking at both of their trackers, the Hammer Cave is the only check left in the Western continent. At least as far as overworld checks. There's still the item in 2 and 6, but those would be very much out of logic right now.
Well, they're both glove block. Or I would think the logic of the randomizer, would presume they're glove block. Or not accessible because we don't have the key or ferry.
Right, yeah, there was an early locked door in 6. Going to the right. But yes, then there was the glove block in 2.
So at this point, a Hammer Cave has to be the raft from that logic, or we've got ourselves a seed that is not possible to be completed.
Well, I mean, this is all hypotheticals for sure until we actually see what the sea decides to give us. If it ends up being the key, it would be possible to find the item room in 6 without needing like fairy or the glove or what have you, right? That would be possible, I would think.
Possible? Maybe. But we already know that Palace 2 is completely glove blocked.
Yeah, I'm taking 2 out of the equation entirely, because you would need both the glove and fairy/key for it to be a viable thought. I'm focusing more on being able, maybe fluking into finding it in 6, maybe.
Well, if for some reason this leads us to the key, then the only place the raft could be would then be in 6.
Right. That's what I was saying. That's where my logic was taking me. And EatMySteel finally finds that hammer cave.
All right. So we're gonna see if we have the key or the raft. Unfortunately, I don't see any other. I guess we could find the glove, which would force us back into P2.
But that would bring the whole key logic thing back into question. Unless,
Okay.
Unless maybe you wouldn't need a key to get to the item room or something. But I think we're going too deep into the hypotheticals now.
Very true. I mean, the thing is that you have to understand what the randomizer logic is going to present to you. So, exploring these possibilities of what ifs.
Yeah, but I think when it comes down to it, the likely thing is that this is where the raft is. But we'll find out in a moment. Hey, yep, there it is. Okay.
So now EatMySteel with raft in tow. Well, time to sail east, my friend.
Yep. We already know where 2 items are in the east. We have the trophy and the water of life in the east somewhere. And bentglasstube finds hammer cave as well. It doesn't look like it. I don't think it took bentglasstube as much time to get through here as it took EatMySteel.
Well, no, maybe. I did not really pay attention to who made it into.
EatMySteel was in Death Mountain first, but just from comparison, I think bentglasstube has kind of caught up some by finding it a bit faster than EatMySteel is. EatMySteel's things have kind of.
Oh, EatMySteel is just getting invisible Moa'd into oblivion. Ow.
Yeah. Oh, bentglasstube was in Death Mountain first? Okay, I didn't. I thought EatMySteel was first, I guess.
Well,
or at least starting the exploration of it in earnest first, I guess. But maybe I was wrong.
One way or another, EatMySteel was able to sail east first, so
right.
Having the advantage of the knowledge, hey, guess what? There's invisible Moas in the east, and they are going to bounce you around like a pinball.
The only way there won't be invisible Moas is if you find the cross super early.
Oh no, EatMySteel, trying to get to the desert tile and just getting denied. So just bad luck on the side of EatMySteel. bentglasstube able to get to the town that EatMySteel, I think, is so desperately
Oh,
wanting to try to get to.
yeah, and this encounter is just destroying EatMySteel, unfortunately. And all for a pea bag.
Well, the spells that they have, J. Cooper, are life and shield, plus whatever bentglasstube finds here.
And there's jump. So that's up. That's up stab and down stab accessible now.
Yeah. I don't think I'd want to leave the east just to get down stab, though.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if you're back in the east.
However, bentglasstube, just jumping right in there, gonna pick up stab.
Yeah, I mean you're already here. With this, you'll have absolutely no reason to come into this town ever again, unless you want to heal or something.
Yeah, encounter, reset, heal. Yeah, not much reason to be here. Looks like EatMySteel's going to do the exact same thing.
And looks like bentglasstube might actually be making a beeline for Mido.
No, that's the backside of Sorry, and I don't think you can jump that chasm, unfortunately.
No.
I guess, from my perspective, I don't see enough of a benefit to up an A like that.
Well, EatMySteel is doing the same thing.
No, I guess the only thing that it really helps with is picking up down stab, and up stab, so...
Fortunately, it looks like bentglasstube has kind of forgotten which town was Mido. I think EatMySteel is heading in the right direction.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, because I think that was Mido up there.
I believe you are correct.
Or maybe not. Ah, I was off by a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like a town a little bit further to the north as well. EatMySteel locating it. Bentglasstube, not the correct direction.
Nope, okay.
Well then. This play seems to have gotten a little worse by the minute, as EatMySteel and bentglasstube are both
And question in chat, they have not found item 2 yet. They still have to do Airman stage.
yeah, Airman stage is where the item 2 is. I believe Flashman is item 1. Actually, no, Flashman is not item 1. We had Magic Jar in Flashman stage.
Yeah.
2% Chungus showing up. The tracker du jour of the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament that is taking place today. I believe there was a match that happened today, but
and EatMySteel is the first of our 2 runners to get down stab. It looks like there's a question in chat regarding Mido-related memes. Can you feel this one? Because I have no knowledge of this one.
Tomato. That's just my stance on this. And it looks like EatMySteel finding the correct town, so downstab in hand, EatMySteel should end up sailing back to the east.
Yeah, there's no reason to be in the west any longer until we have the means of finishing off 2 and 6.
Well, I guess Downstab does give you the ability to open up Rebenak's fight. Instead of having to joust with a sword, you can just dismount Rebenak so much easier. So
yeah, but if assuming we have the means of actually getting to the Rebenak fights.
Well, that's true. I'm putting a little bit more faith in the runners in that, give them enough tools, they'll be able to succeed, and it looks like bentglasstube is somewhere between completely and entirely lost as to the location of Mito to find Downstab.
And we got another palace. EatMySteel, and it's Great Palace.
Ouch.
At least it's nice. At least it's nice to know that it's just out in the open.
That is true. However, it also means that we're gonna, have to negotiate Valley of Death, Maze Island, and we'll see if we've got the 50-50 shot of Three-Eyed Rock. Valley of Death and Maze Island, of course, compulsory to finishing the seed. Three-Eyed Rock is where we have to flip a coin and see if we need the flute or not, which adds yet another item to the east that might be required to finish the seed.
EatMySteel finds one of the 2 item caves in the east.
Alright, so a fairly good chance of finding the trophy or the medicine.
And meanwhile, bentglasstube is just having a heck of a time trying to find Mito again.
Well, they did find a tea bag.
There's the flute.
Oh, okay, so 1 item location down, EatMySteel picking up the flute.
Which means if we do have 3-Eye Rock, that is suddenly a non-issue.
Well, another thing that may become a non-issue, if it wasn't already a non-issue, is our buddy the River Devil.
Ah, yes. So, contingent on him actually wanting to do his job.
Well, sometimes he's on break, sometimes he's actually guarding his post, we'll see.
And bentglasstube finds Mito, and EatMySteel finding yet another 1,000-point P-bag.
Yeah, these P-bags are getting a little out of hand. It looks like EatMySteel finding the water tile as well as Maze Island, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So EatMySteel gonna check the water tile first, and then, more likely than not, head into Maze Island. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that bentglasstube, aside from dunking the crystal in Palace 1, has finished Palace 1 for all intents and purposes. EatMySteel getting a magic jar and taking the refill, casting life. So, a little bit of
making the most of your resources, not a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Best time to do it.
I think he's wanting to get at that next level. He's close to 2,300 for his next level. There it is. There's attack 6.
All right. So
it was a relatively safe encounter, so I guess he wanted to do that while he didn't want to let all that experience go to waste. And that's P5.
To be honest, I don't think. Well, P2, I think, for
We've
Maze
seen
Island.
P2 already.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm looking at bentglasstube's tracker, and I keep convincing myself that it's P5 that's on his tracker instead of P6. But, you know.
EatMySteel finds the glove in Maze Island. Very nice, very nice.
Alright, so that doesn't really put anything back into logic with having the glove, as the only thing that helps right now is getting rid of potential glove blocks, but it doesn't solve the minor issue of not having keys or fairy. EatMySteel picking up a heart container, which again, unfortunately, does not solve the problem.
And, well, the fact that there are key drops from enemies does help. They don't appear to be the most common drop in the world, so that it'll only take you so far. But EatMySteel is diving into P5.
On one hand, I really like this play. On another, I'm going, oh no, why are you doing this? Bentglasstube finding the flute, because logically speaking, the runners do not have the means to go into a dungeon yet, from randomizer logic perspective.
The potential logic from my perspective, and goodness knows, me speaking of logic, and take that as you will. Anyway,
well, it's all speculation
my thought is,
one way or another, so go for it. You know?
If you're already here in Maze Island, it'll take you a while to come back here if you have to. If you're able to at least get to Guma and take him out, then that's one less reason to have to come back.
I do not disagree with this whatsoever.
And case in point. Case in point. There we go.
You know, at least from this standpoint, EatMySteel will now have, you know, the potential of having Palace 5 completely out of sight, out of mind. You know, if we end up needing the item out of Palace 5, then EatMySteel can come back specifically for that purpose later on. It would kind of suck if that happened, but such is the way of things of the randomizer.
And EatMySteel making good work out of Guma, getting another 1,000 experience.
I think the experience is almost inconsequential for Guma, so it feels like one way or another, you know, Palace 5 by the wayside for EatMySteel. I'm assuming he'll jump right back in and try to go item hunting, but that is not the case. EatMySteel, deuces, I'm out of here. Gotta go.
Yep. Yeah, the thought is that Guma's down. If I have to come back here for the item, so be it. But yeah, I can see you not wanting to dig 5 any more than you have to.
Well, I wouldn't want to dig 5 at all if I could help it, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, well, this isn't Max Rando. These are all guaranteed to be 6 gem seats, so you're going to have to go in there eventually. And you might still finding Old Kasudo.
You are definitely not wrong in that regard, so remember the magic word. That is the spell. So now we know for certain that at least one of Fairy, Reflect, and Thunder, if not 2, are now gated behind our spell item drops, the Trophy, Medicine, and Child.
Yep, because the only free spells we have left are the ones in Naburu and New Kasudo.
Well, EatMySteel has 4 spells at this point, so I'm assuming he's turned in his child. Ooh, River Devil might actually have blocked off something useful, but EatMySteel doing little more than removing him from the equation.
Probably doing a bit of a counter manipulation or something. Have we just found New Kasuto?
Certainly looks like it.
Yeah, given the positioning of the other forest nearby, I'm not so sure.
Ooh.
No,
Ooh.
it's not.
Ooh, negatory. Interesting. It could be that forest tile that bentglasstube has just walked past.
The proximity to the other forests nearby is what cast that in doubt. But that would be kind of a trolly location, because you wouldn't think you would be with the other forests nearby.
Well, there is a road in between them, so, oh, EatMySteel finding the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So the flute leading to the medicine, I'm not sure this area would have been accessible by the boots. We'll see if bentglasstube finds a way up there. No, I don't think there was any accessibility to that cave. EatMySteel should end up finding the northwest boundaries up in this area, so I don't think there's going to be anything of value for EatMySteel to find in this section of the ocean. Thank you, Clem, for the reminder of the child leading to the jump spell. So bentglasstube has kind of figured it out. Flute away the river devil and pick up the medicine, as well as potentially be baited by the single forest tile.
And we've already seen both item caves in the east so far, so... And that's another bait forest tile there. Interesting.
Sometimes you just get that feeling about a seed, and it's that one forest tile that is so cleverly camouflaged as part of a set elsewhere, and that ends up being the one you're looking for. But EatMySteel deciding to up an A, so I think we're going to have another return to Mito. So we'll see what that medicine holds for EatMySteel. Having the glove in tow, this might put into play Palace 2.
In chat, the Alan Heffley clarifying the thought about the new Kasuto forest tile. Apparently, it cannot touch any road or any roads terrain.
Oh, okay. So that does rule out tile that I thought it was. So
I didn't realize there were restrictions like that.
I knew it had to be not surrounding anything else, and bentglasstube, doing his part to, help the deforestation of Hyrule, getting jebaited no differently than EatMySteel did. And while doing that, EatMySteel picked up a spell, and I did not see what it was.
It was Thunder.
Oh, okay, so definitely good to have, but I don't think the spell that EatMySteel was looking for.
Not at this stage of things, no.
I mean, I would really hope they find Fairy sooner rather than later. This might put the trophy inside New Kasuto.
Yeah, there's looking at EatMySteel's tracker, there are no other checks outside. Just New Kasuto is all that's left.
The palaces are out of logic, so now it's the search for New Kasuto, which will net EatMySteel at minimum Well, I guess we have the cross, the key. Our progression would have to be something like trophy to fairy, or just getting fairy in New Kasuto. And EatMySteel finding New Kasuto, so no more theory crafting for me. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. Was that in a forest, or was it out in the open? I didn't even see.
It was right next to the Valley of Death.
Ah.
So,
and the first item, it's the trophy. Oh boy.
So I hear you like fetch quests for your fetch quests, huh?
Yeah. At least we didn't have to search out magic containers for this. Both of our runners having 7 already, so that makes that a good point.
Yeah, they cannot be magic container gated, but bentglasstube, unfortunately, taking a trip to the sauna.
And one nice thing, they both also, well, I know EatMySteel has the spell, and turns out the spell in New Kasuto is Reflect. So that's 2 out of 3.
Oh no, so are we in a 50-50 situation between...
Well, we do have the spell, so there is one more item we can get right now.
Alright, so this is key or cross, or a complete whammy, which I don't think we'd appreciate too much.
Right.
Like a heart container.
It's a 1-up.
Even worse. Oh my.
So, at this point, I think our progression would have to be the fairy spell in Rudo, yeah?
If EatMySteel would ever so conveniently open up his spell book, I think we are lacking fire and fairy right now.
Yes, I believe so.
So, trophy leads to one of those two.
Well, in the seed we had the earlier this evening, fire was linked with fairy. So, wait, bentglasstube just got fairy.
Yep.
In Naburu. Oh, okay. So so trophy leads to fire. Okay.
Ooh, so bentglasstube catching a good one here, so oh wow. This is so brutal though.
Mm-hmm.
We are almost an hour in, and bentglasstube has now found the means to actually explore palaces. So EatMySteel, essentially sequence breaking the game, finishing Palace 1 and 5. bentglasstube also, aside from actually placing the gem in the palace, has finished Palace 1 as well.
And bentglasstube is diving into Palace 3.
Alright, so we have everything to finish Palace 3. EatMySteel looks to have found Naburu, so should have fairy.
Yep. Magic word will give you power. So really that opens up pretty much
the entirety of the map for EatMySteel, to be honest.
Yeah, that's pretty much EatMySteel's go mode then. He can just knock out dungeons as he sees fit.
Oh yeah, once he finds them, you are correct. So
and blink and you miss it. bentglasstube is already at Rebenak.
Yeah, it looks like EatMySteel's about to, at least to some extent, handshake bentglasstube. bentglasstube will be on their way out of Palace 3 as EatMySteel on their way in.
And bentglasstube is about to it says defeated his second boss and placed his first gem. That is definitely something that must be stated, and we're all under the hope that bentglasstube remembers to go back to P1 to place the gem.
Yeah, it looks like both of our runners able to fairy feet through the Valley of Death encounters. So EatMySteel into Palace 3, which, well, is going to be their third palace. If they are able to complete it, which I don't see any reason why not.
EatMySteel diving into P3. I mean, you're already there, and oh, hell, 3-Eye Rock, how are you doing today?
Alright, so I believe this is Palace 4 for 3-Eyed Rock at this point. We've seen 2, 3, 5, 6 in Great Palace.
Yeah, yep, and it is indeed 4. So, did bentglasstube get Reflect out of New Kasuto?
Maybe? I don't recall bentglasstube being in New Kasuto, so
I don't believe so, no.
this could be a bit of a problem for bentglasstube. Although I don't disagree with jumping in to find the item, EatMySteel, finding Rebenak straight away, similarly to bentglasstube.
Yeah, if bentglasstube finds the, let's say finds the magic key here in P4, that would be a nice convenience item, but this is going to be a required double dip, it looks like.
Well, for bentglasstube, it'll be, a required double dip, but EatMySteel will just be able to finish, although the item in Palace 4 is not really going to help bentglasstube. It's either a heart container, the key, or the cross.
And BGT just realized they didn't have Reflect.
Oh no. So bentglasstube feels like the walls or the wheels are kind of coming off for bentglasstube. Unfortunate.
Ah, I see. That's the forest tile. That's New Kasuto.
Yeah, so bentglasstube's gonna end up finding their way into New Kasuto. So that'll net Reflect. EatMySteel about to head into Palace 4.
Oh, hello, redundant hint.
Yeah, I think all of the hints at this point are going to be of negative value to the runners, as bentglasstube finding the trophy and soon to find Reflect. So EatMySteel going to explore Palace 4, so we'll see how quickly they're able to encounter Karok. EatMySteel wisely not using Fairy and wasting a key on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes the long jump over the pit there. Nicely done. That's not the time frame for making that jump is not that easy.
Yeah, it's by no means a free jump to make, so very easily able to find yourself falling into the drop area. However, Bent Glass Tube with Reflect in hand now has the means of going into Palace 4 and getting some useful progress out of it if they find Karok at the end of it, which I believe they already have.
No, I don't think Bent Glass Tube actually made it to Karok. He just looked at his menu midway through and realized, oh, I don't have Reflect.
Yeah, something is missing. Looks like EatMySteel trying to hug a Doom Knocker to refill their magic bar.
Yep. Because, yeah, Fairy is not free.
No, it is not.
But EatMySteel has made it to Karok. So I guess the question now is... Oh.
Alright, EatMySteel taking a interesting strategy here. I think I would rather have just defeated Karok and then reversed course after placing the gem and go hunting for the item, which I don't think is in any way, shape, or form necessary.
Well, I don't think EatMySteel is hunting down for the item necessarily. It might have just grabbed the key while he's right there, just to save himself a fairy cast later.
Ah, okay, yeah, that does make sense. Okay. So EatMySteel, Palace 4 down, so that's 4 palaces now for EatMySteel where the gem has been placed.
Yep.
Looks like we're back to the Eastern Continent, or we're done with the Eastern Continent for EatMySteel.
Yep.
2, 6, and Great Palace are all on the west.
No, Great Palace is in the east, but 2 and 6 are in the west.
Oh, minor details. Yeah, 1, 2, and 6 are on the west. This is what I get for taking a nap and then waking up like literally 6 minutes before it's time to jump in to do commentary. I'm still not awake yet, and I think I am just at the point where I refuse to wake up at any point during this run. So, oh well.
I've been up since 2 a.m. So I'm having my own issues about the whole being awake thing. Nice little juke there, not getting hit by the rope for EatMySteel as Bent Glass Tube takes out Karok.
And yeah, Jinxie Girl having a little issue with the tracking, but you know what? It's all good. It's not like a life or death issue here. We all do this for the fun of it, so...
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it'd be nice to have a working tracker, but sometimes that is not the case.
In this case, it's one thing that's nice is that for Zelda 2, there aren't really that many items to track.
That is true.
The one thing that's kind of coming to a head here, the fact that EatMySteel was able to beat Palace 5 is really paying off right now, because Bent Glass Tube is going to have to go back there at some point.
Yeah, Bent Glass Tube is going to have to go back into Maze Island, so we're looking at an unfortunate double dip in Palace 4 as Bent Glass Tube forgot about Reflect.
Oh, that
we
Bent Glass Tube had already finished that, though.
Reflect. But, now we're going Maze Island, the sequel for Bent Glass Tube, which is going to sink a whole bunch of time as EatMySteel is into what I'm presuming to be Palace 2.
Yes. Although it didn't take long for EatMySteel to find Guma, I would suspect bentglasstube probably will have a similar route.
Bentglass, even if it's, a minute or two, it's just kind of having to make the, I guess, I don't want to call it a walk of shame, but I will anyway, because I just said it. To have to go back to Maze Island, and speaking of Guma, here we go. Bentglasstube versus Boss Guma.
Bentglasstube being pretty aggressive here. He's got to be careful. He can't take another hit.
And speaking of boss fights, EatMySteel taking on Helmet Head. And yeah, Bentglasstube was very aggressive in that fight. EatMySteel just removing Hammerhead from the equation. Tax 6 tends to do that.
Yeah. Normally, you would only see that kind of circumstance when you do the New Game Plus, when you likely already have 8s across the board.
Yeah, our runners are at 677. EatMySteel with 1 gem left to place. Bentglasstube with 3 gems left to place. Although only 2 palaces left to complete. If that makes sense.
EatMySteel just has to make his way back to to Palace 6, which appears to be right here. Actually, no, that's P1, never mind.
Well, Bentglasstube would be, wise to remember that he did not place the gem in Palace 1. He did not place the Palace gem because he got the key, turned around and wanted the item, found the magic jar in Palace 1.
And just to confirm, it was Bentglasstube that did not place the gem in Palace 1. EatMySteel did do that.
So we've yet to light up Palace 1 for Bentglasstube. He has defeated Horsehead.
Yep. But just decided to steal the key and grab the item instead.
So now see, that's what I wanted to call the true walk of shame for Bentglasstube. Because he has to go through Palace 1 again.
EatMySteel going through the fairy path. Let's see where this leads. Oh, it leads to somewhere.
Well, it's certainly a room. And an elevator. Oh boy. So a 4-way room after the first drop. EatMySteel trying to head up to the penthouse suite.
Okay, is that the same room did that room just lead back to itself? Yes, it did. Oh my. Yeah, just the elevator just went back to itself.
Okay.
Alright, we still are short on keys.
Yeah, EatMySteel, unfortunately, unable to cast Fairy, although he does have a Doom Knocker that he can whittle himself down on. This is why, having the high life level is not the optimal strategy when you need to kill yourself. And EatMySteel could have potentially hit that statue for a jar, but you know, one way or another, EatMySteel and able to pull that one off.
And Fairy, even at Magic 7 costing 44 magic, it's not coming cheap.
No. Wow. So, EatMySteel into probably one of the worst rooms in the game. Able to remove the bot.
Oh
no.
But the rope sends him into the drink.
Well, normally 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but unfortunately for EatMySteel, 2 out of 3 still finds him a trip to the sauna.
He was able to use those sword beams to good use. As bentglasstube takes out Helmet Head and places gem number 4. And EatMySteel finds the item room in P6.
Alright, it's a little unfortunate for EatMySteel. I think this is not the Rebenak that he is looking for.
No.
Although, oh yeah, he just up and A'd.
Yeah.
I think I would have wanted to take the chance of this being the key and actually fighting the Rebenak before up and A'ing.
Yeah, that's just to make life a bit easier for this last dungeon, because we've already seen the issue, the lack of keys being an issue here.
You know, it's tough to say it'd be worth it, though, as Clem points out, it's his last palace.
Yeah.
But Palace 6 has 10 key doors, if I remember correctly. So, having to cast Fairy and only able to cast it 3 times, I believe. We're looking at 132 magic for 3 casts of Fairy.
Assuming you're not using your magic for other things.
Yeah. And I think we have a maximum... Oh, geez, EatMySteel. This is gonna be... Like... This is gonna take him 10 minutes to end up killing himself on that thing.
It's
high
a
life level.
Yeah, he's just gonna take the other path for the time being. Meanwhile, bentglasstube is back in P1 to go place the gem.
Get the key! Okay, so EatMySteel taking a death instead of opting to pick up the key. Interesting strategy call from EatMySteel's standpoint.
And just to end up back there again.
Oh. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, P6 is not being kind to EatMySteel.
Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure, as EatMySteel dropping down what I believe to be the Canadian Hall.
Yep.
So, bentglasstube. Alright. Using the fairy to pass through the gem. So, Palace 1, Dunzo. So now our runners are both going to be in Palace 6, although EatMySteel having...
man. Just...
This is
all these doors.
This is why we get the keys. Keys remove locks. Fairy doesn't remove it.
Nope.
So the quest to find Barba, very real for our runners. EatMySteel opting to up an A.
Yeah. I think he's kind of retracing his steps a bit here.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. Where it's just like, ay. So we'll see where we end up. EatMySteel an advantage of exploring most of Palace 6 already. However, keys are definitely an issue, and looking at how awful this issue has been, EatMySteel found the proper reenact.
Ah.
I was about to say that, I'd go back to the logic of having the key, or the potential of the key with the other Rebenak fight EatMySteel opted out of. I think taking that Rebenak fight on just for the chance of not having to suicide myself over and over and over again would have been worth it.
Yeah. And EatMySteel does make it to Barba.
It's tough to say if it removes the loop. It's more, I don't think there's a way to break the loop once you end up in the loop of Palace 6, because you take the drop rooms that kind of loop back onto themselves. The only thing up and A-ing does, well, Jake Hooper actually beat me to it, is that you can reset yourself to get out of the loop if you find yourself stuck in one.
And EatMySteel takes out Barba.
Alright, so 1 hour, 20 minutes, 27 seconds. EatMySteel placing their final gem and should make their way directly to Great Palace.
Getting attack 7 along the way. So these levels are definitely a bit higher than you often see in these randomizer races.
Well, it's not like they had 1,000-point P-bags littered all over the place to help with the leveling up. So.
Well, yeah. And bentglasstube finds the item room in 6, and looks like he's going to stick around to see what it is.
Well, this might help, or it might just be a waste of about 45 seconds for bentglasstube. We'll see what ends up coming of it. At least the Rebenak was nice enough to drop the key. Ooh.
It's a magic container, not bad.
Not what I would have been hoping for, all the same. But EatMySteel shouldn't be too far away from Great Palace.
Yeah, it was just out in the open in the plains area.
So mostly at this point, it's just a matter of remembering where it is for EatMySteel.
Alright, and about 122:15-ish, EatMySteel enters Great Palace.
I am going to call it 122:20, just because that's when the curtain dropped.
Ah, okay. Works for me.
I think that's the best metric to use once they peel back the curtain and actually get into Great Palace, because bentglasstube, for whatever reason, might decide he's behind and not even bother to up an A, so...
And we have a really early Thunderbird.
This is either a uh-oh or, a really good thing, because Dark Link has to be behind Thunderbird.
Yeah, but you pretty much have the entirety of Great Palace after Thunderbird, so who
Which
knows?
is why we might have an uh-oh. So, bentglasstube fighting the correct Reenact, Find a Date with Barba, EatMySteel up against Thunderbird, and Mew Mew Fan. Both of these runners are 1-0, both winning their previous round 1 match.
And EatMySteel making quick work of Thunderbird as bentglasstube starts the other fire-based boss fight.
Yeah, Barba should not last very long. Oh, bentglasstube.
That room that EatMySteel was just, that is not a room I'm used to seeing.
Alright, now.
Oh, it's a good thing we have upstab.
Well, I think there's a certain someone that might still be in the chat that, oh no, EatMySteel. It's possible for him to make it through this room, however...
He didn't have enough magic for jump.
He didn't have enough magic for jump, and he broke the brick that would have allowed him to trails his way through without having to use jump. And I call it trails his way through, as there is a way to actually make it through that room without having upstab. Trails has pulled it off. And Jake Hooper, I agree, he also could have just gone back down the elevator. But EatMySteel, for whatever reason, may have been convinced that he done fucked up.
And not to mention, having full magic moving forward with all your lives intact isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, it certainly is not.
And also, could be the case that EatMySteel just isn't aware of the non-jump setup, I guess.
So, bentglasstube 1:26:12, so just under 4 minutes behind EatMySteel. And we have ourselves a race. Not that we haven't had one this whole time, but now we know the 4 minutes worth of exploration separating EatMySteel and bentglasstube.
Yeah, we've already found one dead end from EatMySteel.
bentglasstube at least has a fairly linear path to catch up to EatMySteel, so now it's just a matter of finishing off Thunderbird and trying to run down EatMySteel.
And bentglasstube making quick work of Thunderbird. And EatMySteel comes across the Eon drop and decides to go right for it, having come in from the right side. And ends up in the top side of L7.
Oh boy. So drops after Thunderbird. Alright, so bentglasstube Oh, jump costing a whole 10 mana. So Bent Glass Tube saving some time here with not having to up an A, whereas EatMySteel did. So there's still hope Bent Glass Tube can run this back.
And we're at another waffle room for EatMySteel, and well, at least that's one way of getting all your magic back.
Yeah, I don't think it was the way that EatMySteel wanted to do it, but oh well. Alright, Bent Glass Tube finding the same dead end, so we're 1-1 on dead ends being found by the runners.
And yep, we've wrapped around to the bottom side of L7.
So EatMySteel, realizing that he's not going to find Dark Link by going to the left, instead turning to the right. So we'll see how far EatMySteel has progressed. We'll see. Oh, hello.
There it is.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Bent Glass Tube just a little too far behind. EatMySteel finding Dark Link, so this might close things out for this particular race.
Oh yeah, we did have another upstab room here.
Oh, 2-for-1 sale on upstep rooms. Oh boy.
And Bent Glass Tube trying to make it up without jump, but those bubbles were in the way. And EatMySteel takes down Dark Link.
All right.
Finishes with an official time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 31 seconds. GG.
All right, so EatMySteel is your winner. He will move on to 2-0 so far. And Bent Glass Tube, as a result, will unfortunately fall to 1-1.
Yeah, and it looks like EatMySteel will be joining us for an interview in a moment.
So Bent Glass Tube finding a drop.
Yeah, he's not taking the same path that EatMySteel did. Unless he ends up getting there in a roundabout way, we might be seeing an up A in the future. And we have EatMySteel here in the booth. GG.
Oh, thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, that was actually a PB in these flags for me, so that felt pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Having to get pretty much everything on the overworld.
Yeah,
that was a thing.
Yeah,
of course,
this definitely started out a little rough, put it bluntly.
Yeah, where's Fairy? Where's any key? Looking forever for those.
Yeah, we never did find the magic key.
Being one of the dungeons, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Let's see. We don't know the items in 2, 5, possibly 3.
I think 1 might have been the only palace I dug an item out of. Sheer luck early without Fairy.
And Bent Glass Tube was able to make it to Dark Link. He ended up taking a bit of a different path than you did.
kind of bizarre GP, but made it through there somehow.
Yeah, aren't they always?
Yeah, nice T-birds right away. That was good.
Yeah, the seed did give you a T-bird and say, all right, here you go. We'll just give you this one free straight away. Although, personally, I tend to prefer Thunderbird being much later on because it usually means Darklink is literally the next room, if not, another one. The last thing I preferably want to do is take any kind of drop after a Thunderbird, but
And bentglasstube
Can't win
is
them all.
fighting Darklink legit.
well, why not?
Hey, you gotta have
And
fun.
down he goes.
All right,
And
so
bentglasstube finishing in second place with an official time of 1 hour 34 minutes and 1 second. GG.
how does it feel, EatMySteel, that right now you're standing at 2-0?
That's pretty crazy since I just picked up this game very recently as far as trying to do it fast. So I'm kind of blown away. My expectation or my hope, my goal was to win one game this whole tournament. So,
Well, you not only met that goal, but exceeded it. So, well done.
And you're 1 win away from making it into brackets, too.
yeah, we'll see about that.
Well, you have 3 tries to do it, but
Hey, a stop clock is right twice a day, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, because if I can make it into brackets, I would. So can you? Because I'm not exactly a speedrunner, so.
Yeah, I'm not really by nature. This and Z1R are pretty much the only ones I really do. So.
Uh-oh. Trails given some flack in the chat here, saying one of these days new people will have to end up getting in the cage with Big Daddy T. So maybe a potential opponent in the next round, Trails.
Oh, I'd love to go up against Trails and get completely annihilated by them. That'd be fun.
Well, you'd definitely be able to learn by watching back the VOD and seeing, okay, this is what Trails did compared to what I did.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Trails play a lot, so he's my buddy. So he can destroy me in Z2R. I can destroy him in Z1R. So it works out.
So it looks like bentglasstube will not be joining us here.
Now, GG to him.
Yeah. So one decision that I made a note of as you're doing it was your decision to dive into P5 while you were at Maze Island.
I know. My whole thinking behind that was I don't want to come back here. I was just like, I'm just going to check and see if I can get like a straight path to him. And amazingly, I did it. I was flabbergasted that I made that.
Yeah, that's. I kind of figured that was your plan.
The whole time I was doing it, I was like, this is wrong. I should just get out of here now. Just go. And I was like, oh my God, if I'm the boss, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that was definitely one thing that set you ahead, since bentglasstube kind of noped out of Maze Island the first time around.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a hike back there, so if you can knock it out while you're there, it's good times for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one of the things as a commentator is I'd love to see a required item in Palace 5, because it's usually an absolute hell for the runner to dig the Palace item in Palace 5.
That's known as my usual practice seeds.
Oh no!
Yeah, that sounds like the seeds I usually roll to.
So when Palace 5 was in Maze Island, I'm secretly whispering to myself, "We're gonna get so screwed because like the trophy is gonna be in Palace 5, and they're gonna need it something." The trophy did end up leading to Thunder, if memory serves me correctly. So
I don't.
Trophy was fire.
Oh,
Yeah,
trophy was fire.
Trophy was fire. Yeah.
Okay.
I
The
forget
medicine
where.
was fire.
Yeah, Thunder
we
was
ever
in
learn
Mido,
what-
so that was behind the medicine.
Did you actually cash in the trophy to get fire?
No, that's just process of elimination.
Oh, okay. Because my follow-up question would have been, all right, if you had fire, what was it linked to? Because I never noticed.
That was the only.
fire in the past.
That was the only thing in the back of my head, kind of like, should I go get it just in case it's like thunder or something useful? Like, why waste the time?
Well, about the only thing I could think of is it's perhaps linked to fairy, because otherwise, if you do or don't know, if you cast the spell that fire is linked to, and you start shooting fireballs, then you know what fire is linked to because the link goes both ways.
Yep.
So if you cast jump and start throwing fireballs from your sword, well, you know fire is linked to jump now. Just if you weren't aware, at least the viewers might know a little bit more than what they did coming into this run.
And one other decision that we noted, you noping out of the item room in 6.
No, I was in go mode then. There was absolutely nothing I needed in there.
Yeah, but if it ended up being the key, it definitely would have helped you at least get through there. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, by that time, I think that was my last dungeon until GP. So
Yep,
it
was your last one.
Yes.
Yeah, I was not interested in checking that. It was like, no, just a waste of time. Go find Barba.
And I guess for sake of completion, bentglasstube did end up getting the item in there, and it was a magic container.
Well, I mean, that at least would have been the most handy thing next to any key, so it's
Right.
not a complete waste.
So,
All right, so-
any other questions you think of, Frico?
One thing that I can think of wasn't what you did, but what bentglasstube did. And I think it ended up eventually putting them too far behind. And did you ever consider using any of the keys that you found to, instead of opening the door to lead to the palace crystal statue, going back and trying to find an item in the palace?
No, I mean, most of the time when I was in a palace, I was just boss and go. Like I said, one was the only one I actually dug an item of, and I pretty much, by the time I started, I guess 5 aside, by the time I started digging the dungeons, I had everything else I needed, so I never really even thought to really look for items.
Yeah, an interesting thing, bentglasstube basically stole the key from Horsehead and went back to get the item from P1, which I forget what it was now, and ended up having to go back to P1 later on just to deposit the crystal.
Yeah, I got lucky with the early key drops, so that's why I went into one there. I was like, well, keys are dropping, I have one, and one was all you needed, and you got through the item and Horsehead, so I did that. P1 and P5, I got super lucky going through, and I actually got really lucky on a couple of them, just finding the bosses really quick.
Yeah, I think you had 2 keys going into P1. I think bentglasstube only had 1.
Yeah, it was a magic jar in P1, so bentglasstube actually went for the item in P1, and then having to double dip P1 ended up costing bentglasstube most, if not, of the time difference between the two of you. This bentglasstube went into Great Palace just under 4 minutes behind, and seeing the times of completion, I think there was about a 2-minute gap between you.
It's 3.5.
Oh, it was 3.5. Okay.
For the finishing times, yeah, it was 3.5 even.
Oh, okay.
Our GPs were pretty much the same then.
I think the one thing bentglasstube had going for them was they did not up an A anywhere. I think you had trouble in one of the upstab.
Yeah, I mean, that was right after T-Bird, and I was just like, well, I could go down 3 floors and then go find something, die, and then go back up 3 floors. Or I could just up A and just go back through that way. And that's just, I think it would work quicker, and I had the life, and I had the medicines, or I had the magic, so just seemed to make sense.
All right, so was there anything that you found to be an issue in this seed that were missing?
No, I mean, just the fact that, you know, it was a slog to get Barry. I mean, it wasn't really that bad because he was Naboru. He went around the east, like around the coast. It was in the middle of the east, so that was kind of tricky to find that. So by the time I got all the way back there, I finally found it. But other than that, everything was pretty easy to find. You didn't have to dig much out of dungeons. So, like I said, that was actually a PB for me. So I can't complain about that one.
Well, in that regard, congratulations on the PB. Hopefully you can set 1 or 2 more of them while you progress through the tournament.
Yeah, you know, I don't have to get every overworld item, or, you know, that could happen.
Yeah, true. Well, you did without the cross and the key this time, so... Let's see, trying to think of, you know, anything that really stood out, aside from, you know, maybe small routing errors if you happen to watch the VOD back. You know, something might come up, but...
It's a couple of those close caves just west of where you start, and I think one, like the hammer or something, was in one of them, like the medicine cave or something. So I found that kind of late. And that, I didn't even need that to get Raft ultimately, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I thought it went pretty well.
Well, the hammer really was only needed for New Kasuto, which was Reflect. I don't think Spectacle Rock yielded anything of value. The hammer-blocked caves, I think, ended up resulting in 1,000-point key bags.
Goodness knows there was plenty of those flying around.
Yeah, true. Actually, that brings me to a question, if you don't mind my asking. Is there any particular approach that you have toward leveling up in this game?
I just kind of try to do it on the fly. I'm more interested in exploring the overworld and finding the stuff, and just kind of try to kill what I can. Those $1,000-point P-bag drops were just super nice, so I didn't really have to worry about it because those would just drop periodically, and I had like level 4 and everything like 20 minutes in or something, so that was pretty nice. So you didn't have to worry about leveling this seed. But yeah, I mean, if you're not getting those, I guess you just try to find some early guys that can drop a lot of experience. But yeah, other than that, this one, it was pretty much given to you.
Yeah, the one thing that was kind of trolly towards both of you was the location was finding New Kasuto itself, since there were a couple of those lonely forest tiles that ended up not being anything. In chat, the Alan Heffley kind of clarified it, where the forest tile that hides New Kasuto cannot be next to a road tile.
Oh,
which
that's
is
good to know.
which is not something I knew. So
Yeah, that's helpful. That's something I definitely did. I checked one of them.
Yeah, I think both of you, between bentglasstube and yourself, I think checked a couple just kind of out and about forest tiles, and they ended up not being New Kasuto.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was locked or not, even before I found it. So just found the one. And, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you would like to say? Because I think it's about time we shut it down for Wake Up Jinxie Girl, who our tracker was.
and our restreamer.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
still awake.
Okay. Just checking.
Not for much longer, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just thanks to everybody for helping put this together, and GG to BGT, and yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. Good times.
Well, good luck going forward. Hopefully you can pick up that third win and find your way into the bracket stage of this tournament.
Yeah, we shall see.
And a big thanks to our commentators, Rico and Melee Wizard. As always, you guys always step in and volunteer. It's very appreciated. Congratulations and GG's to EatMySteel. Looking forward to seeing you more in the tournament. GG's to bentglasstube. And as always, on behalf of ZSR, thank you so much to our wonderful chat who always keeps us in line and helps us with tracking and commentating and everything else. It's so much fun when you guys get excited about a race and get involved. So once again, big thank you to everyone who supports ZSR as well as the Z2R community. And with that, I think we're going to call it a night. Tune in tomorrow for some more of our continuing coverage of the standard tournament. Oh, I just lost the word what this is. It's not qualifiers. What is this?
Swiss.
Swiss. Thank you. Thank you. Wait, let me struggle there, guys. All right. With that.